Yes, good afternoon, everybody. What's happening? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with another little cheeky little afternoon lunchtime live news stream for you where we're going to dissect the latest days and mornings Manchester United goings on. How you doing, you legends? Welcome into the stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Do us a favour at the start of the show. Smash that like button. Give us a share around. Repost the link pinned at the top of the live chat. Get yourself subscribed. Oh, yes. And also, of course, get yourself involved in the live chat. That's what it's there for. Have your say throughout, and we will dip in and out the live chat. And, of course, we'll have a little Q&A at the end as well. And if you're on catch-up later watching this back and you're not watching it live, comment down below. Get your thoughts about anything we discuss, and also smash that like button. Nice one. How are we all doing, live chat legends? Big up to the live chat legends here. What's happening? Gavs, Stefan, William, Daz, yes, Jax, Stefan, Tim, William Reedy. Yeah, I bet you are. I bet you are. Stefan, Daz, William, and everybody. I'm just repeating myself now. But welcome into everybody in the live chat. Thank you for joining us. Let's get stuck into it then. Reports coming out today that Mbeumo is edging closer to Manchester United because United have made that initial contact now with Brentford, as per lots of different reports, which we'll get into in a moment. So it seems like Manchester United are progressing with this deal. We have made the contact with Brentford. There's all sorts of speculative reports coming out there about figures, salaries. Yesterday we were talking about Mbeumo potentially asking for £250,000 a week, which obviously is just absolutely ridiculous and astronomical. And then there's also the belief that Brentford are holding out for around about 62.5 million, which is the same figure, obviously, that we paid for Matheus Cunha from Wolves. They're using that as a yardstick, apparently. Which kind of makes a bit of sense, really. They're both the same age. They both have that, proven Premier League experience over the last season. And, definitely both scored and assisted a lot of opportunities and goals for their teams. So, obviously there is a little bit of parity there, I suppose, that Brentford want. In my opinion, it's just a bit too much. The Matheus Cunha deal was a bit too much. It would not surprise me if we were to sign this guy for 62.5 million, though. But I'm hoping that we can negotiate that deal down just a little bit lower to make it closer to 50 million, 55 million, somewhere around there would be much more palatable, wouldn't it? I mean, it's not our money, but the more money that we have available to spend on other players this summer, the better as well. Like if we do have to spend, essentially 125 million on just those two players, well, how much is that going to really leave Manchester United left to go and get a goalkeeper or a number 9? We have to factor in we are losing out on revenue this year because of no UCL. And obviously the fact that Manchester United have been really struggling. We're struggling. So we've kind of got to strengthen big time. We are expecting lots of players going out, which means that we'll generate some cash that way and clear some melters off of our books. And we'll get into some of that a bit later on as well. But right now, Mbeumo is about to be worked on in terms of negotiations. We wouldn't say it's underway in terms of negotiations just yet, but it is essentially, about to happen. The contact has been made there between the two clubs. Man United opening the dialogue there with Brentford, and hopefully we can get a deal done. I'll just ask the live chat, how much you think Man United will end up paying for Mbeumo? Have your say in the live chat. I'm going to go ahead and say 60 million. I think we'll get him for 2.5 million less than Matheus Cunha. Matheus Cunha obviously was a similar sort of signing in terms of his stature, his goal record, Premier League side, similar sort of status, Premier League side, Wolves and Brentford. So you have to say there's some similarities there. I would not be surprised if we ended up paying very close to that sort of figure. But I'm going to go ahead and say £60 million. What are you guys saying? How much do you think Man United will end up paying for him? We probably should pay 50 million max, but you know us. You know what we're capable of in terms of the transfer window and overpaying. And obviously teams know we are desperate for players and they want to be compensated. They also know that we've just signed and agreed a deal with Wolves for Matheus Cunha. So of course they're going to want a similar amount in terms of their initial negotiations. Great shout there, Vincent. Who cares about an extra 2 million? Yep, where 2 million saving will come from Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe, I don't know if Ratcliffe's going to be given anything. Mate, he carries his cash around in a brown paper bag, lad. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't even have a wallet, that guy. I wouldn't really trust Ratcliffe at this stage to invest anything, but we'll see. We'll see, mate. We'll see. 60 million, you say. 100 million, okay. 60 million, 80 million. I mean, if it was an 80 million offer, if that's what they were looking for, then we should just walk away from the deal. That's preposterous, isn't it? I know we paid 85 million for Antony, but I think we're trying to get away from that whole ethos of just buying any old player for huge amounts, even unproven ones in the Premier League, like Antony and Hojlund, spending huge cash on those guys. I think we're trying to get away from that, aren't we? We're looking for maybe a little bit more Premier League proven experience, and also less in terms of wages, and also less in terms of the initial transfer fee. So surely we've got to get away from those sorts of ridiculous fees. 70 million, $1 billion. You don't care, pay the cash, fair dues. 55 million. Around that, 50 million, 59, 65, 60 over 3 years. Well, yeah, probably United will sign him on the Never Never lad. 75 mil because you always pay too much. Oh, well, if it's more than what they're asking for, for Cunha, then I think we should actually walk away personally, because it's just taking the piss, isn't it? We don't want to just be bent over this window just because people know we're desperate. We are a desperate football club right now in terms of needing players. We also don't have the most biggest, best talent pool to choose from because of the status of the club right now, no Europe, etc. So yeah, like these sorts of players coming in from these lesser teams. I say lesser teams with these quote marks because obviously Manchester United finished 15th, but of course in terms of every other metric, fan base, revenue, global brand size, anything, obviously Manchester United completely golfs both of those clubs put together. So Wolves and Brentford obviously shouldn't be able to compete with Manchester United in terms of keeping oldest players. That's where we're doing our business this season, it seems, signing those sorts of players from those sorts of teams. Still could be a challenge from a different team, obviously, for the likes of Mbuemo. That could definitely rear its ugly head soon, but if United act quickly and get the deal done early, then we could certainly be laughing very soon with Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo playing for Manchester United. I mean, if we get both of those guys, we're adding a huge amount of goals into the team, a ridiculous amount of goals. So let's have a little look at this, actually. Just saw this, I thought it was funny. Thought it was funny and sad at the same time, but you've got to laugh to stop from crying, don't you? And it says this. It says, Bryan Mbeumo scored just one league goal fewer than Man United's entire attack this season. Mbuemo got 20 goals. Man United's attack got 21 goals. That's sad, isn't it? Doesn't that make you feel sad? But also you kind of have to laugh at the same time because that's how shit we were this season just gone. But Mbuemo certainly can add a lot of goals to United's team if we can play well. It's not just going to be one player comes in and changes everything. We need to have a good team, good tactics, good system, of course. But if we can get all the different tools needed to do what we need to do in Amorim's system, there's no reason why he can't replicate that for Manchester United. So 20 goals, 8 assists as well, one less than the whole of Manchester United's attack, which is just shocking, isn't it? Absolutely shocking. But let's have a look at the actual sort of headlines or the sort of latest news and little tidbits, reports. Let's get into it. If you're just joining the stream, guys, remember to smash that like button, help us get to 100 thumbs ups. Every little helps the channel out and helps boost us up there on the algorithm. So give us a cheeky little like spike and help us compete with clickbait wankers. Nice one. So let's have a look at this then. So, yes, Ben Jacobs reporting a couple of, or an hour or so ago, that United are now in club-to-club talks with Brentford over Bryan Mbuemo. No bid yet. £50 million required, plus £50 million plus required, as Mbuemo has a one-year option Brentford can trigger, alongside the 12 months left on his current deal, meaning they don't feel under pressure to sell. Okay, I'm sure they do, to a degree. Only 12 months left. They'll want to cash in, won't they? Brentford currently using £62.5 million Cunha fee as a valuation yardstick, but Man United believe a lower fee is possible, especially with Mbuemo keen on the move. So yes, we've sort of discussed this recently anyway, about the Matheus Cunha and also the Mbuemo similarities, and the fact that that amount of money is probably what Brentford would want, seeing as they've just seen us sign Cunha and make that deal with Wolves. So that's probably what they're going to want, but, are they actually going to get what they want? Surely we can negotiate a deal for a bit less, 55, 57.5, whatever it may be. Maybe they will get the 62.5, but if they're wanting that amount, then surely it has to be split over a couple of years in installments, if they're expecting that amount of money. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past United to do a deal like that where we're trying to buy him over a couple of years. Obviously, that seems to be what we're doing at the moment, to get around PSR and all that guff as well. And then this is, from Lyle Thomas there from Sky Sports, who just said that Man United have registered their initial interest with Brentford FC for Bryan Mbeumo. contact established, but formal negotiations yet to begin. So yes, we are going for him. It is getting closer for us to be able to say that we are signing Bryan Mbeumo. Nothing agreed just yet. Obviously, the clubs have to make that agreement. They've got to reach an agreement in terms of the initial fee, and any add-ons or anything like that has to be worked out as well. Bryan Mbeumo is keen on joining Manchester United. He has given the green light. He says yes. But again, nothing there in terms of like actual agreements, maybe verbal agreements, but nothing in terms of actual proper agreements there. As I said, he's reported to want 250,000 a week. It's just not going to happen, is it? Once again, in the live chat, have your say. How much do you think he's worth? But I think, somewhere between 140 and 180,000 is probably the sweet spot for him. Okay, he's not on a lot of money at Brentford. That's true. Some reports say 45,000 a week. That is a significant amount less than what we're talking about here. But just because he's got a bit of a weak contract now at a smaller club doesn't necessarily mean that you can just get him for nothing or get him for chump change. He's going to have to be paid more than Luke Shaw. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have to be paid more than Frey Bentos FC lover extraordinaire. Otherwise, it just doesn't really make sense for him, does it? Plus, it's a huge club with huge pressure, huge expectations, huge brand, global exposure. Like, it's obviously comes with its own positives and negatives, so he needs to be compensating for that. So I think between 140,000 and 180,000 a week is what makes a little bit of sense for me. Any more than that, it's not great value for money. United do pay players far too much, but if he wants 250k, I mean that's just asking for far too much money there, isn't it? Definitely. So not really too keen on paying that sort of a wage to him, because Manchester United need to try and change that whole structure at their football club. We've paid far too many players too much, too soon, and bang average players at that as well. And you're seeing what happens when we've done that. You're seeing what happens right now in this transfer window. Players that we want to sell. I mean, if Rashford played for a different club and he was on £180,000 a week, which is probably what he should be on, right, then this summer, how much do you think he would be moving for if he was moving? He wouldn't be moving for 40 million. He would be moving for a significant amount more, but it's the wages that make the problem elsewhere and create the lack of the initial transfer amount that you're going to receive as well, because nobody wants to pay those wages. So yes, we've already priced a lot of players out of a move. Andre Onana would be another problem. You've obviously got issues with Mason Mount. He's on a big contract. Jadon Sancho's on a ridiculous contract. You've seen that firsthand just in the last day, obviously, with Jadon Sancho and his wages causing a big problem for us to be able to move anybody on. Chelsea wouldn't pay the 25 million on top of what he was wanting for his wages. Goes to tell you everything there about us as a football club and the ridiculous cash decisions we've made over the years. So, yes, I'm just going to get into the live chat here before we get onto the Gyökeres stuff and the Hojlund stuff and Rashford and all that sort of stuff. Let's get raw into the live chat, see what you guys are saying real quick in regards to this Mbuemo character. Let's see what you guys are saying about Mbuemo. 100 to 150k a week. I like your style. 100k raise seems fair. Yep, he was making 50. That's it. He was making a lot less than what he's going to be getting paid at Manchester United. But also at the same time, it's a much bigger stage. It's a much bigger club. Like, you have to be compensated, obviously, for playing for Manchester United. Yep. Thank you very much, moderator John Global, for smashing the like button there, you legend. I appreciate you. Thank you, Gavs. He says, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. Thank you very much, you hero. Yep, Hojlund is on 85k, so surely he wants more than him. I mean, Hojlund shouldn't be on £8.50. That's the reality. Whatever Hojlund's on, it's too much money, and it makes him a little bit more difficult to sell. But just on Hojlund, obviously, there are lots of talks about him going to Inter or Italy. And yes, I mean, there's obviously good value for a football club there somewhere for a 22, 23-year-old player who's still got his best years ahead of him. It just seems that he is a bit of a gash bag for Manchester United playing in the Premier League. He can't perform to any sort of level that we need. He can't score. His movement's pretty sus. His first touch is that of a donkey. He certainly is not the player that we thought we were getting, is he? 90 million. Take it easy, Baz. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you. No worries, Stefan. Enjoy. Have a great day, boss. No bueno. 120k per week is sweet deal for him. It is a sweet deal for him. But, how can you really look around the dressing room as a player like Brian Mbeumo and say you're on 120k a week, and you've got that Frey Bentos lover on the same sort of cash as you, or you've got Jadon Sancho on 3 times as much. So it doesn't really add up. There has to be some sort of a structure here in regards to a pecking order. You know, not everyone's going to get 300,000 a week, but there has to be a pecking order, doesn't there? And if you are getting paid less than Luke Shaw, then there's a serious problem there, isn't there, really? And Luke Shaw gets paid a lot. I think he's on 100,000 a week, isn't he? Or maybe more. But he's on a lot of money for the sort of gash player that he is, definitely. And a 3-year contract as well. Lords of Indecision says Mbuemo's greedy and his priority is his salary. We don't need to sign greedy arsepipes like this. We've signed enough already. But is he really greedy, though? You know, it's part of the negotiations, isn't it? So if you were going in for this sort of a role, let's say you play for Brentford, Man United are interested in you, you're on 45,000 a week, you know how much they pay players. Are you going to sort of want to go in there with your agent? I mean, obviously it's the agents doing as well, but are you going to want to say, okay, just give us 70 grand, you know? No, you're going to try and ask for as much as you possibly can to begin with. That's just part of the negotiations. You're not going to get that. You wouldn't be expected to get that, but if they're asking for 250k, they'll probably meet somewhere in the middle of what he's currently paid, which is around about 45k a week or somewhere in that region, and the few hundred and the 250,000. So, you know, somewhere in the middle of there. That's how negotiations work. So it's not necessarily that he's greedy. I mean, he isn't getting a huge amount of money at Brentford at the moment. He's wanting to come to United for not just the money, I don't think. I think there's a lot of clubs that could give him the money. He's reportedly chosen Man United and the project that Amarin has at United over a couple of different clubs. So I don't know about that personally. Who knows? We'll see when more comes out about the actual contract and the wage structure, etc. But right now, I think he just wants to play for Manchester United. He sees a good opportunity there. He knows we're a sleeping giant, lad. You know? Daz Salford says, smash them likes if you want rid of Onana. Thank you very much for that. Yes, ZX Flames, it really would be a very serious signing. That's it. You know, and Mbuemo would add a lot of goals, a lot of danger to our front sort of 3 there. He'd also, you know, be a better option than sort of what we've got right now, for being honest. Even Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo's a wicked player, by the way. I really, really like him. But, you know, and he definitely should stay and be a part of the team and play a lot. But I just think that Cunha and Mbuemo in behind a proper number 9 there certainly has the 10s. Maybe Diallo could play as wing back or something sometimes, whatever. But Mbuemo and Cunha, I just feel like that gives you so much danger and so much threat. Both sort of match winners, you know, both 25 years of age, great experience there. So perfect ages really to come in and play well for United for a good few seasons. Because of that, I feel like that would give us a stronger Manchester United side. It's just a bit more about us, a bit more physicality, a bit more bottle, a bit more, you know, a bit more character there, match-winning presence and stuff. It's all going to help, isn't it? It's all going to help. So, yeah, these guys would be great to get in because they're just going to improve on what we've got right now. As much as I like Garnacho, in my humble opinion, is not really properly suited to this system anyway. You know, he's more suited to like if he was playing in a 4-3-3, like a proper 4-3-3 as a real wide left winger, you know, playing like a Vinny Jr. role or something. Not saying he's as good as Vinny Jr., but I'm just saying, playing that sort of role, I could see him really doing well, Garnacho. But in this system as a 10, same with Rashford. You know, they're not really 10s. They're not properly 10s. They can play there, I suppose. They can take it wide. They can cut inside. They can score goals. But they're not proper 10s. It's not really their position. So that's the way I look at it there with those guys. Yep, United's still the second richest club in the world. What's going on with them pissing about like this? It's crazy, isn't it, Paul, lad? Absolutely crazy, but we'll see. I mean, obviously, we've got to get rid of a few players right now. Unfortunately, a lot of damage has been done with previous player acquisitions and having to pay out lots of money, even this season for players we signed previously, which is a joke, isn't it? It is an absolute joke. But obviously, they've got to generate some cash this summer by selling players, so it's more that's holding things up, I think, a little bit. If you think, and actually we've got Cunha over line, we're working on Mbuemo now, but it does seem like we've got to get rid of a few players to be able to go and get a goalkeeper or a proper number 9 like a Gyökeres. So yeah, that's it really. That's the hold up. We're just trying to get rid of Rashford, get rid of maybe Anthony, get rid of Onana, hopefully Hojlund. You know, there's lots of players we're going to move on this summer, I think. Those players we've just mentioned there, maybe some others. Just on that, let's get into the rest of the news then. Let's get into the rest of the news real quick. So, let's take a look. So, Yep, Sancho won't play. This is from Fabrizio late last night. He says Jadon Sancho won't stay at Man United this summer. Plan clear on both player and club side. Players camp to assess all options in the next week as Sancho will return to Man United, not playing FIFA Club World Cup with Chelsea. So obviously he's returned to United. They've paid us the £5 million for them to break the contract essentially and send him back to us. We're now going to have to try and move him on. A loan deal probably makes the most sense to Dortmund or somewhere. And if not that, then perhaps there is a move from a Saudi Arabian side who could take him on a permanent transfer. They're about the only league where anybody would be crazy enough, I think, to even pay Sancho what he's actually getting at Manchester United right now. So that's a possibility. If he wants to go and play in Saudi and just go for the cash, I'm sure he could do that, couldn't he? So there's just a little update there from Fab late last night. Also, just in regards to another player we're trying to move on, Rashford. So just a report here that says that Inter have entered the race to sign Marcus Rashford. Barcelona and several Premier League clubs want Rashford. Man United want £40 million to sell the forward. So, you know, there's just some potentially BS reports coming out. Obviously, we know Barcelona have an interest in Marcus Rashford. Aston Villa, perhaps, but they won't be able to afford him. So now reports coming out that Inter would be interested in him as well. Interesting. But obviously we want them to buy Rasmus Hojlund. You know, that's the main priority. I think we can sell Rashford elsewhere. It seems like Inter's the only team that wants Rasmus Hojlund right now. So I think we've got to just tell them no to Marcus and please take Rasmus Hojlund off of our hands. That's what we're after. Okay, let's get into the Gyökeres stuff then, guys. Let's get into the Gyökeres stuff. So, obviously we want Gyökeres, don't we? We'd be so keen to get him in there because he is a baller. His goal record's ridiculous. He also is the right age as well for players that are sort of in their primes. He's 26. He also has that previous working relationship there with Ruben Amorim. That you can't put a price on that, really. They know each other. There's an understanding there. That's important. Gyökeres is a player that I think would definitely come in and improve us overnight. He's a great player. He seems a great player. You know, just, okay, I don't watch a lot of the Portuguese league, but I've watched loads of, like, compilations of him this season and stuff. He's actually tearing fools apart. He's a beast. He scores loads of goals. I'm sure he'd be able to replicate that to some degree for Man United in the Premier League. So it would be amazing to get him. The only thing is it's, you know, I guess it's not dead in the water at all, this. It depends on us selling players. It depends on us having lots of cash in order to get him to come. Because we're probably going to have to pay him more than anybody else would to get him to come and play for us. That's the sad reality because of where we are right now. But he has been speaking. So there were some quotes from him. He was speaking on, I think, Portuguese Scandinavia via Portuguese outlet Ebola. He says, in Swedish culture, people work hard during the week. And if they want to do something, they do it on the weekend. Gyökeres revealed to Vogue Scandinavia via Portuguese outlet Ebola. Here, people also make the most of the weekdays. They come over with friends on Monday or any other day of the week, have dinner and a glass of wine. All right. But then he goes on to say, in Sweden, that's rare. That's the big difference. Lisbon is one of the best cities in Europe. I feel at home. So you can read into this what you want, really. I mean, he's just saying that he likes Lisbon, he likes the city, he feels at home. Does that mean that he would not leave Lisbon? I don't think it means anything, really, guys, personally. I mean, I suppose he's just reaffirming to the sporting fans and everyone that obviously loves the city, loves being there. But that's because he's there right now. You know, surely he's not going to end his days playing for Sporting Lisbon. Nothing wrong with Sporting Lisbon. They're a great club. They really are. But they're not a massive club like Manchester United. They're not a massive club like Barca or Real or one of these type sides. So it's tough, isn't it? Surely if he wants to progress his career and really reach the levels that he could possibly reach, he's going to have to go to one of the top European leagues. And that's where Manchester United comes in. But obviously he's saying that he loves Lisbon. People reading into this saying that he's staying and all of that guff. I personally believe it doesn't really mean anything. I'm a little bit concerned about where he is going to end up because obviously there's lots of teams that should be interested in him. In fact, let's have a little look at this report here from Record in Portugal, which is probably just some absolute guff. But let's have a look at it. It says that Atletico Madrid are the front runners to sign Gyökeres. So Atletico Madrid are now interested in signing him also, apparently. And let's face it, they are a big club in Spain. There's a good project there for him. maybe he'd be interested in going there. That's it. Manchester United have a real problem on our hands where we're just massively struggling right now. 15th place mess, no Europe. So it's not the most attractive place to go and play. There are reports now, obviously, that, Atletico Madrid have entered the race. There's still an understanding that maybe Arsenal are keen on him. Loads of different teams want a little piece of Victor Gyökeres. So I'll just ask the chat here once again, where do you see Gyökeres starting his season or playing his football next season? Where do you think he'll end up? Will it be Manchester United? Will it be Sporting? Will it be Atleti? Will it be somewhere else? Have your say in the live chat. Let's just see what you guys are saying real quick. Get your thoughts and opinions in here. So, not Atletico, please, says Lito. Yeah. What's he on about? Yeah, I don't really get it. Portuguese people know how to live. I know. What's he on about? People meet up after work in every culture sometimes. Not all the time, but, some people meet up after work on a Monday. That's bizarre. Ever heard of playing squash with a bloke on Thursday nights called Gerald? Do you know what I mean? That's what people do. So I'm not sure what he's on about. There you go. You couldn't convince me, Pig. You're going to Portugal for my next vacation. Liverpool, Italy, you think? Liverpool, filth. No. You think he's staying? He might do. I mean, obviously those comments would allude to the fact that he's very happy there. He says that he feels at home there and he's happy there. So it could mean that, or it could absolutely mean nothing. United, Chelsea, Gyökeres, maybe City or Liverpool, I think. Juventus will sign him, probably staying. Simon Cowie, you legend, how you been, boss? He says Gyökeres would be a key player for us in Amram. If we get him, and Amram gets him firing like it's important, it would be the difference. Totally agree. That's it. Could you imagine the front three, though, seriously, of Gyökeres up top, with Matheus Cunha in behind, and Mbuemo in behind? I mean, I'm a bloke and that makes me moist. Do you know what I'm saying, guys? It really does. It makes me feel tingly down there. It's a great front trio, that. I mean, goodness me. I feel like we could do some serious damage with that front three. Obviously, the rest of the team's going to have to be addressed. You're going to need a new goalkeeper. The defence is going to have to do well. The midfield's going to have to do well. But the front three of Gyökeres and Mbuemo and Matheus Cunha, oh, mate, that's nice. That sounds like it could be right up there in terms of, competing top tier in the league. Okay, we're going to have to do well. But those three, as a front three, Gyökeres on paper with the amount of goals he scores, and those guys who've got the proven goals and goal contributions in the Premier League, well, I mean, you can get yourself maybe thinking about getting up there in the European spots, no worries, if you've got those guys firing, and also not worrying about playing European football midweek and all that sort of stuff to be able to focus on the domestic league. Brilliant. So, yes, but Gyökeres, obviously, it's still, I mean, I'm going to give it I honestly don't see it really being that realistic. I think the best we can hope for is like a 20% chance. 20% chance that Gyökeres signs for Manchester United. I still think it's probably more likely he stays at Sporting for a little while longer before deciding where to go to for his big money move, next summer. Or he gets an offer from one of the big European giants and maybe he goes there. So that's pretty much where I'm at, really. I think it's quite unlikely that we're able to sign him. The only good things going for us, really, is that we are good payers. We do pay a lot of money for these players in terms of wages. We aren't short of a few bob in that sense. And we've got players outgoing as well. So we can get some money off of the books there and get some cash back. If we could sell Rashford, for instance, that's obviously going to be able to free up loads of cash to pay Gyökeres. Plus, there's a great opportunity, really, for our striker, for our number 9, who can come in maybe and take that role of the talisman, the goal scorer of Manchester United. Great opportunity there for someone who's got the bottle to do it. It's a tough job. Hojlund couldn't do it. We've seen lots of players come in and not be able to do it. But if he can do it, what an opportunity. I mean, you could fire United back to the glory days. It's a huge club with obviously a massive brand and huge fan base, huge global appeal, etc. If you could be a successful player in that team right now, you would be a hero, wouldn't you? Become an absolute hero. Plus, it is a club that has potential to still win things. Even in the last few seasons, we've done that. So, yeah, we can still do that. But yeah, obviously I'm not going to hold my breath on getting Gyökeres because I just feel like it's kind of a little bit airy-fairy, It's wishful thinking, guys. It would be lovely. In an ideal world, we'd all want him because of his goal record. But in reality, it's just not that realistic. It's just not that realistic, unfortunately. Okay, right, guys. I'm going to get stuck into the live chat then for a cheeky little Q&A, but that's the Gyökeres update. Gyökeres, some quotes from him, just basically saying how happy he is in Lisbon and at Sporting, and just saying that, yeah, he likes the Portuguese way of life and the fact that people do stuff after work. Fair enough then, Victor. Okay, see what you're saying. How about you just dish your whole Swedish land and tell them they're a bunch of lazy bastards? Because that's what it seems like he said there. No. But anyway, let's take a look at the just what we discussed it very quick for anybody who's just getting in here. Ben Jacobs reports that United are now in club-to-club talks with Brentford over Brian Mbuemo. No bid yet. £15 million required plus. As Mbeumo has a 1-year option, Brentford can trigger alongside the 12 months left of his current deal, meaning they don't feel any under pressure to sell. Well, it seems like to me they'd be feeling the pressure. I know that they can essentially have him for another couple of seasons, but certainly to me that seems like they should be looking to cash in sooner rather than later. Also, Sky Sports reporting that United have registered their initial interest with Brentford in Brian Mbuemo. Contact established, but formal agreements or negotiations, I should say, yet to begin. So that's basically what's going on with Mbuemo. We've just looked at the Gyökeres quotes. Sancho is expected to leave Manchester United this summer, and reports that Inter are now keen on Rashford as well. Hopefully not. Hopefully they just take Hojlund and Rashford goes somewhere else, because I hope it wouldn't scupper the Hojlund deal. Right, let's get stuck into the live chat then, you legends. Thank you everyone who's joining us for this lunchtime live. Hit those thumbs ups on the video. Give us a massive like spike. Also, get yourself subscribed to the channel if you're new, and let's be having you. I'm going to get in the chat now, see what you legends are saying about anything we've discussed here. Any news on Anthony? Yeah, he's gesh. No, there's no more news on Anthony, unfortunately. Still expected that he'll go this summer, though, yeah, because Amorim doesn't want him. He's had a really good time at Real Betis. They might want him. Erik ten Hag over at Leverkusen might want him. Who knows? Ajax might want him. You know, there's definitely some options on the table there for Anthony. And whoever is going to get him is not going to have to pay what we paid for him, because his premium's just dropped off a cliff. So probably talking 35 million quid and they can have him. And for a young Brazilian player who's still got abilities, look what he did at Betis, it's not a bad deal for someone out there. So I expect him to go. I do expect him to go. What's my thoughts on Osimhen? Bit of an ego, bit of a prima donna, bit of a mercenary. Great player. Don't really want him at Manchester United. Plus, he'd want hundreds of thousands a week. We've already tried that. He's the sort of player that we would have signed a few years ago, and it probably would cost us in the end. So I'm not really keen on it. Even though he's a good player, I think we should go for someone else. But yeah, obviously a good player. No other big club seems in for him right now, so that technically means we might have a chance because of the Amorim connection. True, but as we've mentioned, there are reports that other teams are interested. Like, look at that. There's a report there that Atletico are the front runners to sign Gyökeres. Other teams, even Arsenal, still linked with him. Obviously, they're looking at that Sesko deal, etc. But still, that's a link. Who else? There's a couple in Spain. So I'm pretty sure that it's certainly not plain sailing for Manchester United, this, but we could make it happen. It's a possibility. You looking forward to the Leeds matches, bro? This friendly coming up big for both clubs in hindsight. Yeah, nice one, mate. We're going to batter them up. 6 points a season. Thank you very much. Do you think we'll get Mbuemo? I do. Personally, I do. It's making it. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed at all at the moment. Nothing's close, really, but it's getting closer. Man United have started the contact there with Brentford, so it's about reaching an agreement in terms of the transfer fee. And once that's done, then there's no real reason not to. I don't think they're going to ask for too much. They probably do want 62.5 million, and we'll probably end up paying close to that. But they might let us have Mbuemo over a couple of years in terms of a structured deal anyway. So could be good for us. Yep, updates. The updates are Gyökeres has been speaking out and he wants to stay, or he said that he's very at home in Lisbon. You know, nothing too much really to report there, but obviously Atletico Madrid interested as well. And in regards to Mbuemo, we've just discussed it, haven't we? We should get a CDM to replace Casemiro. I like your style, William, but it's not the most paramount position to strengthen this summer, in my opinion. It would be nice, but I think the most important positions to strengthen are the striker, the goalkeeper, maybe even get another wing back in there. After you've got Mbeumo and Cunha, I mean. Because the reason is, like, if you think about our CDM positions or the CMs, we've got Ugarte. If we get Mbeumo and also Cunha, then it's likely that Bruno Fernandes is going to be pushed a little bit deeper in that midfield too. So you could see Ugarte and Bruno, Mainu and Bruno, Mainu and Ugarte, I feel like I'm forgetting somebody here. Casemiro and Ugarte, Casemiro and Bruno, Casemiro and Mainu, etc. Like, there's still 4 players there to play those 2 positions, 4 good players to play those 2 positions. So I think we'd be all right. I think we'd be all right if we could get those guys, to play those positions. You're more worried about getting 3 Gash players out of the club. True, difficult to do. If Amorim doesn't work out, will Southgate be a good option? Is that a serious question? I hope that's not a serious question, boss. The answer to that is a big fat no. DJ Supervigo says 35 million for Anthony plus 5 million a year for 5 years. Yep. Nothing cheap about it, really, but still, it's feasible, isn't it? You hope we don't go for Mateta. He's not as good as people say, or he's better than Hojlund. I mean, I don't mind Mateta, I think he's a good player, would be decent. He's had a good season. Afternoon, Samaconda. I mean, for the right price, I'd be interested in him. Is it just me? Or is there a lack of old-school strikers? Definitely, mate. Definitely. There's not very many old-school strikers around these days. No, you're not wrong. How many transfers do you think we'll get? I'm going to say about 5. 5 transfers done this summer. Good transfers as well, because that's what we need. And I'll say a similar amount of players going outwards as well. But in terms of the players that we need, let's say Cunha, Mbuemo, Gyökeres, Emi Martinez, and then just like a random wing-back or something would be nice. Mateta from Palace would be good. Yeah, I think so too. We need 1 midfielder since Ugarbe is trash. Ugarbage. Bit harsh. I mean, he's definitely shown some good signs. He's been a bit inconsistent, a little bit poor here and there. Not quite all that we thought we were getting. But I still think there's a good player in there, Let's give him more of a chance. I like his fight and his battle and everything. We'll see how he does. Remember, the whole team was shite this season. The system was guff. Ten Hag melted us into an absolute steaming pile of guff. And then let's face it, Ruben Amorim's taken over a steaming pile of guff and not been able to get a tune out the side either. So, it's not been a great season for anybody to really judge them properly. Only could get a chance in midfield. The engine room needs a massive upgrade, but I don't see how we have the funds after getting Mbuemo. Nobody will buy our players outright when they can loan with 0 obligations. Fair one, yeah, and that's certainly the case with certain players like Garnacho. Mateta, good shout. Yeah, Collier as well. Yes, Collier, absolutely, Collier. So, Collier looks really good, actually. Looks like he's got some great potential. I was very impressed with what I saw from him. Not that we saw that much last season, because he got injured, didn't he? But it was an old nickname when I used to play in goal in youth football, mate. That's what it was. If Gyökeres wants Champions League football, we need to be identifying new number 9 targets. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time pursuing his signature. Oh, spot on, Anthony. That's true. It'd be nice if you could have a cheeky little phone call with Amorim and tell him what's up, wouldn't it? Hopefully that comes soon. But yeah, you're right. We do need to move on somebody else if we can't get Gyökeres. But I still think we can. I personally think we can. But we don't want this to be one of those things where it's drawn out the whole summer. There's a whole big saga, protracted saga. No. Get this done nice and early. And if you can't get him, then yes, move on to somebody else. You want to see news on the goalkeeper front? I know, Dad. So a couple of weeks back, obviously linked with Emi Martinez. Nothing much going on more on that front. We are linked to also Milinkovic-Savic as well, that big 6'8" goalie. And maybe 1 or 2 others also. We've just seen Kelleher go to Brentford, haven't we? So that's right, isn't it, guys? Yeah, unless I dreamt that. For some reason, I feel like I dreamt that. When you have that weird feeling that you might have dreamt something. I don't know. Anyway, we've only spent 20 million so far this window, so lots of room, says Samaconda. Yeah, Lindelof's leaving, as is Ericsson. Yeah, definitely. And Johnny Evans. I'm all right, Gary Finnegan. How have you been, lad? Get in there. How you getting on, lad? And UK Darren fan as well. Big up. You'd have Mitoma from Brighton. He'd be a good signing for us. Yeah, sure. Again, don't really see that happening. He is getting on a little bit as well, but if he wanted to come, then we could definitely do a lot worse. He's a great player. Speaking of players like Mitoma, I like Semenyo as well over at Bournemouth. And Mbeumo having second thoughts because United got no European football, not even Conference League. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, certainly there's a great opportunity there for someone, though, to fire us back into it and be in it next year. Yeah. Vincent says, think you forgot to mention about a new goalie. That's what we need as well. No, I don't think I did. Did I? Well, obviously you know that I feel that way, mate. We need a new goalkeeper, obviously. Andre Onana is a complete melter, lad. Yeah, James Trafford's not a bad shout, Kieran. You know, he's young, he's got prospects. It's great shout there. If we get Mbuemo and we got him and Cunha that can score goals and have Xerxes in the false nine, yeah, respect that. That's a good shout. Xerxes, I rate him, and I think he's going to do well. False nine could be better for him, definitely, yeah. That way those guys can play off of him and score more goals. Perhaps Xerxes isn't the most clinical, but he is very good in the build-up, so I sort of like what you're saying there. It's interesting. Simon Cowie, thank you for the $4.99 super chat there, bro. Thank you. He says, Pig, if we can get 40 to 60 million for Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho and Anthony, we could have made between 160 to 240 million. Yeah, damn right. That's so true. But how much of that's actually going to go back into the transfer kitty? That's my concern. Remember, we've got Ineos and the Glazer shithouses in charge of proceedings in regards to the finances, lads. So that's what you have to ask yourself. But, of course, we know they need to spend and invest, and I think they know that too. Nah, Hojlund's not refusing to leave. Why would he refuse to leave? People don't want him at the football club. He's not happy here. He's not playing well. He's not doing himself any favours in terms of his development or anything. So I'm pretty sure he'd be desperate to leave as long as he's going to get the wages that he's getting here for somewhere else. And we're talking about going to a club like Inter as well. We're not talking about going to Kettering Town. Like, Inter is obviously a great club to play for. He should be lucky that a club like that would be interested in him. Simply Facts Clips, thank you so much for the super chat, you Don. Appreciate you. Get some love hearts in there for him. He comments and he says, Xerxes in midfield pivot, bruh. Hear me out. No, I'm not hearing you out, mate. I'm not hearing you out. I'll tell you what I do like, though. Xerxes in behind the striker, you know, playing a number 10. He's another one of these guys that, let's say if Garnacho does go, Rashford goes, these guys obviously, you know, we're going to have Mbuemo, we're going to have Cunha, but beyond that, you want players who can also play that role. Of course, you need the depth, but less games this season, so it's not as much of an issue, but Bruno can play there, Xerxes can play there, Diallo can play there, you know, so you need players who can play in that position besides Cunha and Mbuemo. Xerxes can definitely play that position. In fact, I think that's his best position for us. I don't really see him as an out-and-out striker personally, or a midfield pivot, mate, to be honest. But but he has a good passer, he has got good feet, so you never know. United have a garage sale, players out at the rock bottom prices. Yeah, pretty much, because the wages are very much expensive. That's the reason, and they're shite. Dare I mention Ivan Toney? Well, you can mention him. How much is Ivan Toney on over there, though? I don't know, but he did seem to go over there pretty quickly and leaving English football behind for the cash grab, you know? So I'm not too sure that you can even tempt him. I think he's on massive money. I forget what he's on now. 27 away from 200 likes. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Yes, everyone give us a like. Help us get to 200 likes before the end of this stream. Just a cheeky little lunchtime live here to discuss the latest news. Gyökeres quotes and Mbuemo talks and other teams unfortunately interested in Gyökeres. Let's have a look. Mount would be great to sell. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's tough to sell. Again, huge wages. We paid a huge amount. Homegrown player, but is there anybody out there prepared to pay 35, 40 million for him? Maybe. But he's on big money, couple 100,000 a week. Doesn't represent good value, unfortunately. Plus, Amorim seems to actually like him. But yes, Mount out. I agree. I'd get rid of Mount immediately. Didn't Chelsea scum sell half their squad, you salty melt? Excuse me now, Matty Smith, you melt? Oh, sorry, no. I thought you were talking to me. You're not talking to me, are you? Excelinator says Ivan on 400k a week tax free. Yeah, he's not going anywhere, is he, lad? He's talking about someone who's prepared to jeopardise his footballing career by placing some dodgy bets on that. He's not going anywhere. He loves that cash. Yeah, you all right? What's going on there, Goal Have? Yeah, not too shabby, lad. Mount needs to go. Worst number 7 in our history. Exactly. Nobody's buying Mount there, Godzilla, lad. If only Godzilla would come and get him, mate. That would be nice. But Mason Mount's not going anywhere other than that. Injury-prone Mount and Shaw. The blue line got dropped on his head as a kid. He's never recovered. Is that who's talking in the chat? Some guffers there. Oh, respect. Nice one, Matty Smith. You think Mount will have a good season? Well, if he could stay fit, the system that Amorim essentially plays is also kind of beneficial to him. But Mason Mount, I forgot to even mention him when I was talking about players who could play that role, but obviously he can as well. But I guess as a utility player, somebody to come in and play occasionally would be all right. Tony would definitely still do a job. Yeah, definitely. Get in there. Gyökeres is the one, though. Realistically, how hopeful are you with this summer window? I'm not too confident. I'm half confident, mate. That's it, really. I mean, we've already had a good start. If we can get Mbuemo over the line, it's looking pretty decent. Mateus Cunha is a great signing, at least in theory. I guess they're all great signings in theory, but he's a great signing in theory. And Mbuemo would be a great signing in theory. If we could get a goalkeeper and a striker, then I'd be pretty content with going into the new season, if we can get good ones, that is. But in terms of your question, not that confident because we've got competition from other teams and we don't have European football and we're in a bit of a state right now. There you go, Abu Bakar. It's a bit of an issue. Thank you, Paul Warby says, love these cheeky pig streams. Thank you so much. Yesterday you put a tenner on us to win the league. You're getting 33-1. Sky Bet with the give me 35-1. Odds are down because we're signing some players. Interesting there, Vincent. That's a pretty shit bet, lad. But stranger things have happened. Leicester won it at 5,000-1, so you never know. The Butcher's definitely injury prone, mate. Don't hate yourself, Nathan. It's true. He has been injury prone. De Ligt seems injury prone since he came in. Yoro seems injury prone. We know Luke Shaw's injury prone. Mason Mount's injury prone. We've got so many injury prone players. It's a disgrace. Thank you so much, Matthew Smith. I appreciate you. Thanks for having my back, you legend. We need players that can genuinely play for the badge and not just for the money. Spot on. Good thing. Yeah, that is a good thing in one regard for the squad. Especially seeing as we kind of need to just focus on getting a few really great players as opposed to a lot of really average players. Thank you so much, Paul Warby, you legend. Right, I'm just going to shout out everyone that's reposted us on X. Once again, you can repost us on X there to help spread the word of the show. And keep hitting the thumbs ups and subscribe and all that. But let's go and shout out all the legends who reposted us on X. Thank you so much to these guys. We've had 6 reposts. Big ups to you. John Boy Cat, MUFC Brummy Reds, Vincent Bullock, Kieran, Aaron Homeyard, United Flying High. Get in there, you beauties. Nice one. Thank you for that, you legends. Simply Fact says, why do we always miss out on players like reindeers? Well, I kind of think it's because, well, Santa Claus wants them all. Do you know what I mean? And it's difficult to convince him to sell them from North Pole FC to... Nah, sorry, this is a shit joke. No, to answer your question, because, well, we aren't in the position where we can attract the top players right now, the likes of the Champions League players that want to play for the big shitty teams. Do you know what I mean? Like shitty and stuff, who have Champions League football and can maybe challenge for it. That's what players want. We don't have that right now. So if you're a legacy player and not just about the money, you're going to go to one of those top teams. That's just the sad reality. Unless you have some affinity with United or the staff or you're just getting paid more than anywhere else, you're realistically going to want to go to those teams, aren't you, rather than Man United right now. It's sad but true. If you're a United fan, a passionate person like us, or some of us, then you would be interested in United. But because he's not, he's not. Right, anyway, guys, listen, I've got to wrap this stream up here, guys. But thank you so much, everybody, for getting in here today. You're a bunch of absolute legends. Don't let the debate finish there. Come back after this video's finished and get your thoughts and opinions in the not live comment section after this one's done. Once again, thanks to all the reposters on X. Big up all the likers on the stream. Thanks to all the subscribers. Keep subscribing. Get yourself involved. Come back after this video's finished and get your thoughts and opinions in about Gyökeres and Mbuemo, Rashford, Sancho, whatever. Get your thoughts and opinions in after this video's finished. Come back and tell me, actually, who you'd like to see Manchester United sign as a new goalkeeper. Comment after the video's finished and get your thoughts in. But yeah, you can give us a follow on Insta, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, Kick, all those places. Links in the description. All the same. Username Flying Pig United on all those platforms. Give us a follow. And big ups to you legends getting raw in the chat there. Nice one. Abu Bakar, Matthew, William, Mark, Paul, Tim, Disco Dave, Chewy Not Crunchy, Shaka, Daz, Salford, you legend. Big up all the moderators. Big up all the members in green like Paul Warby, Bartek Stella, Simon Cowie. Nice one, Mark, Rogerio, DJ, William, and everybody else as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Keep a lookout for upcoming streams. If there's any breaking news, of course, we'll jump straight on. And we're also going to be doing an evening and a lunchtime sort of rundown every single day, even if there's not any news. Just like this, it's a bit of a slow news day today, obviously. But we are reported to have made that initial contact with Brentford anyway, which is obviously positive, and it's expected that the deal will progress shortly and negotiations will begin properly shortly. So that's where we're at. Thank you for watching, guys. You're a bunch of legends. Cheers, Mark, Jax, Linesy, Mark, Paul, Ronster, and everybody else as well. Thanks. Have a great day. And remember, Piggy loves you. And also remember, when the seagulls follow the trawler, this is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much. Get in there, you beauties. Thank you so much to all the patrons here for supporting the channel on patreon.com/FlyingPigUnited. As a thank you, all you legends will be appearing on this outro list. Get in there. Once again, thank you to all the YouTube members, but one of the best ways you can support the channel is on patreon.com, so check it out. Patreon.com/FlyingPigUnited. And once again, a big thank you to all the legends that do support the channel on Patreon. Get in there.